make sure this is working properly. Okay. I think we are live and golden. Look at that. We are. Hello, people.
Golden. I want to be platinum or something. I don't know.
Jetthro here on the A Blooming Entertainment channel with Ty Nelson. Ty, how are you? ¿Cómo estás?
Great. Happy to be here. Stoked to chat. Yeah,
Awesome,
always stoked
awesome.
to chat.
Cool,
Always
cool.
walk away from these conversations just rejuvenated, inspired.
Yeah,
So
me
excited
too.
to be here.
Me too. Awesome. Yeah. So, let's just kind of dive into the mind, I guess. These nightly entries or live streams for myself are generally me just kind of going through my day and kind of re-exploring and rehashing things that are happening in my mind and happening with the mind in general, and just kind of concepts and just kind of things in general. We can kind of do a little bit of that. I actually more so, now that I'm kind of speaking through it, I really want to hear about you qualifying for Boston. And let's explore that a little bit, and then and we were talking before we kind of went live here, but I do want to explore. I mean, you've spent a lot of time running and just fitness and just kind of that general world in general, and I would like to kind of get your help even more so on running a potential ultra. I know you are doing that. I would like to do that also, but maybe we can just kind of discuss some of that and just some of the mindsets and just some of the different things that are needed for that. But let's discuss some things. Let's dive in. There's so many different topics, Ty. There's so many different
So
topics.
much
Where
to
do you
go
want?
through.
I know there's so
you
much.
tell me where
Where do you want to
I'll
take
never
it?
pick.
Well,
I'll
let's just get Boston out of the way. Let's just dive into it real quick, and let's just get it out of the way, because it's something I do want to explore and something I would love to hear your just your whole process. I know we got a lot of video and a lot of content up to it, leading up to it, but just kind of where you're at now, how you feel now.
Yeah, I threw a short little video out recapping the race. But naturally, I feel like anytime I put something out afterwards, I'm like, gosh, there's so many things I missed, some things I wish I would have said, or maybe I didn't paint the picture.
This is a perfect opportunity then for you to fill in the gaps.
So ultimately, we had two goals going in. The first goal was to go sub 3 hours and qualify for Boston. The stretch goal was 250.
Okay.
And
this was the Ogden Marathon, right?
Correct.
In
Yep.
Utah, right. So
Ogden, Utah.
You just had so sub 3. So clarify this with me really quickly, because I genuinely don't know. Is any like Boston qualified marathon, is it 3 hours and under, like across the board, will get you qualified for Boston?
Correct, but the course has to be certified as Boston qualified. So if it's like 2 downhill or something like that, then it doesn't matter what time you run. It's not a Boston qualifier.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it just has to be on a course that's certified as being a Boston qualifier, and then it is 3 hours for 35 and under, age 35 and under.
Interesting.
After that, I think it's every 5 years, the time goes up. So you can be a little bit slower, and I think every 5 years it goes up 5 minutes. I don't think it's 10 minutes, because I think the next age group up has to run a 3:05.
Okay. So like if
I
you're
could
like
be wrong on that.
36, you got to do.
But listen to
3:05.
this: when my old PR time in the marathon was a 3:17, and at the time the Boston qualifier for 35 and under was 3:10.
Oh shit!
So
no
in
way.
my mind, I was 7 minutes short. And then it changed in that 5 years I took off. It changed.
Oh.
So now coming back, it's like, now I gotta shave 17 minutes off.
17 minutes. Dang. And you did. And you
But
did.
we got it done.
You
We
did.
got it done.
You did. We talked on the phone a little bit after that, and you explained hitting the wall.
Yeah, bummed. I
Yeah,
bonked, man.
talk to me. Dylan
Yeah.
bonked. Talk to me.
It's a
more
common
through that.
term. We call it bonking, hitting the wall, and
Okay.
a lot of times it's cramping. A lot of times it's nutrition, and people will compare it to our bodies are not like a car. We cannot pull into a gas station. We cannot pull into an aid station, throw in the nozzle, pump a little gas, and then our fuel level went up off E to full, and then we're good to go.
Quickly.
Yeah, you gotta be ahead of it, because once you're behind it, you're not catching up, especially in that short of a race.
Interesting.
In an
Interesting.
ultra, you can. I've been reading a lot about bonking in ultras, but like it's not the end of your day.
Bonking is the actual term they use.
It's a very common term. Google it and it'll come up. Bonking, yeah, bonk, bonk. When you bonk,
I just hear that. I'm sorry. It's just hysterical to me.
yeah,
Call it bonking. I'm sorry.
yeah,
It
love
sounds.
it.
It sounds.
But you'll see
intriguing.
people. They're usually cramped up. For me, it was the hamstrings and the calves. Very compulsing. It's like almost you put like an electrical stimulant on, and so I had a little quivering kind of around mile 22, 23 at one point. I was locked up just in that full Charlie. It brings you to a dead stop.
So you had a
dead
Charlie
stop for a
horse.
second. Twice, yeah, it hit me
Damn.
twice.
Man.
And it was in the hamstrings. The calves, I thought at any moment could go. They were having that same quivering feeling, but never hit the
Interesting.
calves. It was just the hamstrings.
Interesting.
So looking back, I think I did really, really well on my carb loading leading up to the race and during the race. I think I didn't do well with electrolytes. I think I was
Interesting.
salt depleted, and that's what caused the cramping.
Interesting. So what do you normally do to get salt or get electrolytes?
So for the carbs, and I'm sure there's some in it, you have your goos or chews. I specifically used goos, and they'll have a lot of carbs. But for the electrolytes, there's some people use salt tabs. They have Powerade and Gatorade, and I've always heard from people like, no, don't grab the water, grab the Powerade. You need the electrolytes. If you take the water, you're going to lower and dilute the blood volume, so you need to make sure it's potent. So you use the electrolytes. I actually carried my own fuel, so I wore a belt and had my goos with me. And then on the back, I have this little flexible water bottle, and in there was a combination of BCAAs, electrolytes, and carbs, and more liquid carbs. And so that was packed. But I think I was in such a carb mindset because even in that mixture drink, I only put 1 scoop of my electrolytes in. So I watched a video the other day of a guy who was prepping for his, and like the morning before his actual marathon, he drank 3,500 milligrams of sodium. My scoop that I'm using, I think is 500 milligrams, and he took 3,500.
So that's what, 7 times as much?
Yeah. So I think it was the sodium and the salt.
Interesting.
But this has me more excited than ever for the ultra, because the ultra is absolutely going to be, you have to figure out your nutrition. I'm excited because of this Ogden. I think really solidified a turning point for me mentally when it comes to racing and competing, and just mental toughness when things get hard. And so I'm excited to build on top of that and capitalize on top of that in the ultra world. But more than anything, I'm excited to really lock down and figure out nutrition and fueling. So when I go back to Boston, that doesn't happen, because I think I left so much out there. I had sub 250 in the bag.
You were
I
there.
felt great about it, man. I
Damn.
felt so composed. My heart rate. My original plan going into the race is I did want to do a fast 20 and then hold on for a 10K. But after the mile 1, and I kind of settled in with a group of guys that I liked the times they were talking about. They were collegiate runners. I felt really good, and we settled into a pace, and I was like, dude, I could hold this and then negative split, because this is nice. I expected to be going faster at the time, I was like, no, we're going to come out burning out. So I just, man, so much left. So it has me hungry. I'm so eager. This has been such a challenging week to not be in training. Just been doing little runs to recover, but I'm eager, man.
I love it.
There's so much left out there.
Man. Well, I keep going.
Oh, and so the turning point, though, was super, super excited about the decision that was made when the Charlie horses were happening. Because my old mindset I would have gone right into my head of some kind of justification, some kind of like, how am I going to explain this to people? Already like making a decision that you just failed, like in that moment. And that was a not the case
And you're
that day.
the mind, the justification. That's a
Yeah.
perfect word. The justification of like, man, I tried, but this happened, and like, back to the drawing board, blah blah blah. Like, that's so easy to slip into,
Yeah.
and just give up. It's so easy to. But you,
Something that
obviously,
feeds the justification is when I talk about sometimes going to a dark place, and those last 3 or 4 miles were a very dark place.
mm-hmm.
Past shit comes up, past traumas, and again, I think it's the brain telling you, like, dude, you've been through so much. You went through this, and like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's some form of, your brain trying to protect yourself, telling you, like, man, you've done so much, or you've been through so much. It's okay. It's okay.
So like your dark place essentially was like just past traumas that came up that were
So specifically, I expected. Usually they have been. I've dealt with some stuff when I used to work on the ambulance, and just stuff that I've seen and emotions that are connected to that. But the dark places I went to during that race were other races that I just failed, and I just like, how many times I've done the Ogden itself. Like, that was probably my 5th time doing the full, and I've done the half before. I've done the Ogden so many times, and so many times it didn't go well. And I always, again, justification, I always blamed it on the time of year. It's a tough race to train for when you're coming out of winter. 20 weeks before, I started training on January 2nd. January 2nd was day 1 of my 20-week block.
In Utah. Yeah.
So typically, historically, my training has never gone well.
Yeah.
And as we talk today about training plans, I think one of the most important things when it comes to a training plan is sticking to it. So many times I would get something happens, or a few weeks in, it's not going well. So back to the drawing board. I think I need to rewrite my training plan. I did that so much. But yeah, this one was
essentially like
this
it's
one was
not
different.
like you have the plan, but it's not quite working, and just like the justification, or the mind being like, well, this blah 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 blah, just chatter, getting in the way, and that's all. So that happened. Those thoughts came up in your mind as you were finishing the last couple miles, and you're like,
just relived it. Thought about how many times I finished the cross line, and I would have, maybe my like girlfriend at the time. This was like during high school and stuff. My girlfriend at the time, my parents, all my friends knew. Everyone on the track and cross country team knew that I ran these marathons and stuff. And again, going back to that, sometimes I hate myself for this, because I felt like I used it as, again, self-justification. I told myself, well, I'm not really good at these shorter distances, the mile, the 2 mile, the 5K, because I specialize in the marathon. And so, like, yeah, you guys kill me in this, but like, let's go to my world, which is the long distance. And so I felt like I never got like super competitive, really at a competitive level in those distances. And then, random side note, I'm excited because these 2 training blocks I'm going to do back to back for Boston right after this ultra. The first training block is going to be very detailed towards really PR in my 1 mile. I'm going to try to get that 1 mile under a 4:30.
Oh my God.
I've hit 4:58 is my PR in the 1 mile. But I don't know if I could hit. I don't know if I could hit that. Like, I'm curious right now.
You got to try it,
because I do feel like I'm in
you
my
gotta
peak,
try.
right? Like, I feel like I just ran a 17-minute PR. Like, I feel like I'm in a peak. I feel
so
like I could do it.
Is it just because you want to see that you can, or is there like
no?
a
That
further
first
purpose?
training block, I want to get my body to where I can be fast. Because when I go into the second training block and I'm doing runs, I want to just be able to hold a 6 or a sub 6 and be comfortable. And so to know I can do that, I got to start. I need to move that top notch so that then the cushion area can move up with it.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
that you have a low heart rate, so that you can like. So essentially you can run sub 6 constantly and have it feel like, for me,
that'll be
like
my 7 right now.
Yeah. Or for me, like a 9-minute mile, 10-minute mile, or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's wild, man. Just raising the bar.
Raising it, man.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm excited to go back, because that's something that, I'm terrified of it. Like, I'm excited to go to face that, because it sucks, man.
Yeah.
Those 4 laps around that track.
The sprints, yeah.
Damn.
4:30. Dude, I don't think I've run a mile. I don't think I've officially done one sub 7. I
I
don't
know
think
you have
so.
a 702 or something like
I
that.
know, I know, I know.
Oh,
That's
on
probably
Strava, though.
on
On
Strava.
Strava.
That's
But
probably my fastest I've ever done in my life. Probably.
right
I
there.
don't know.
Love
I
it.
don't know. But I'll catch up to you. Maybe.
Yes, sir, you will. I'm excited. Especially on the strength training.
I know.
It's gonna be good.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, dude. So yeah, you did the Boston. You went through the mental grueling and physical grueling. You fucking made it through. You did it. So walk me through. So you're gonna be doing an ultra first and then Boston. You're gonna be doing Boston and then ultra. What's
So ultra's 10 weeks away. So we're jumping
Okay.
right in.
That's right.
I've already taken these last 2 training blocks.
And
the last 40 weeks.
what is the ultra? Hang on.
Oh, yeah,
Walk me
yeah.
through the ultra real quick. What is that?
Absolutely. So the ultra that I chose to do, it's called the Kirkwood Ultras. It's
Okay.
in California, just a little bit south of Lake Tahoe.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a fairly technical course, a lot of single lane hiking trails.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's going to be a technical course. I'm excited about that.
Cool.
My ankles are excited about that.
Fun. Okay. Cool.
They'll have to get stronger for sure. You can relate to that.
I can.
But
Yeah, I can.
But the reason I chose this one is a lot of times ultras are long distance. You got to cover a long ground, and your crew is going to leapfrog with you. So you're going to start running. They're going to get ahead of you, set up camp. You'll come in. You'll refuel, redo the backpack, get your fuel going again. Probably have maybe some warm food, some actual food made at camp, and then go again. And then they got to pick up camp and then get ahead of you again. And so it's a leapfrog game.
Interesting.
So I chose this run specifically because it's 4 loops. It's 4 laps, and each lap is 15.5 miles.
I see.
And so you'll do 1 lap clockwise, and then counterclockwise, then clockwise, and then counterclockwise.
Interesting. Okay.
And that way my crew, aka my wife, and probably my
Uh-huh.
parents, I think, are going to be there, could just stay in one spot, and then I'll just lap and come back to them each time.
Interesting.
So
Cool.
100 kilometers, 62 miles.
Okay, that's what I was going to
And
ask
it's the
next.
first week of
Okay.
August. Yeah, first
Interesting.
week of August.
Okay.
So I'm doing a 10-week training block leading up to it.
Okay. And that
And I think a
training-
lot of people would hear that and be like, dude, that's just not enough time. But I think a lot of times when you're looking at training blocks and training periods, there's so many weeks of building your mileage. And I'm coming off 60-mile weeks from the last training block. So I'm jumping right back in. Next week, I'm going to be doing, I think I have planned at least 50 miles.
I see.
And so we're just right back into the mileage, and I'm going to slowly keep increasing that. But I've done so much of the foundation of building that mileage that I feel confident
You're
over
fine.
the 10 weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So then
Okay.
after that,
Uh-huh.
that'll be from in August. I'll
Uh-huh.
have August all the way until Boston, which would be April. So more than
April.
enough time for
Oh,
220
week
blocks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And,
It'll be
and
very similar actually to what I did last year for Ogden.
for Ogden.
Yeah.
Nice.
Starting in August.
Gotcha. And the Boston right now, besides the training, you're just kind of like I'm in it. I'm doing it. Like, let's go.
Boston, we're going sub 245.
Oh,
That's
fuck yeah, dude.
no question. I would
love it.
stretch it farther, knowing how much time I have to train for it. But I am keeping in mind how tough Boston is. It's a tough course.
Is
not,
it?
Not that I've done it. I can't say it's tough, but
Sure,
word on the street. Word on the streets. It's no,
people say it's
no
tough?
joke.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
it why is it tough? They say is
Just
it like
elevation, where the elevation happens. I think
Hills.
mile 20 to 22 is pretty hilly area.
I see.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know a lot of details. I've actually only seen 1 or 2 on TV. I remember when I was younger, I watched one on TV, and then just this last year, I was watching Chipogi, and so I watched it a little bit. I was working, so I kind of just here and there paying attention. But I'm excited to study the course and be prepared for it. I'll incorporate a lot of the aspects of the course into my training as much as possible.
I see.
So it'll be fun.
Do you think you'll have an advantage training at higher elevations?
I'm gonna check while we're chatting here, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Boston's fairly similar. I don't know.
Than Salt Lake?
I was talking to my provider that works in my building.
Uh-huh.
He's run it a few times.
Uh-huh.
Max elevation.
Because I wouldn't think that Boston.
I have no
itself.
clue what they sit at.
I mean, I feel like it's like close to the ocean.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I feel
think
like it's
close
right
to
on the
sea
ocean.
level.
It's got to be sea level. I feel like you'd have some kind of advantage.
I would hope. I'd be excited.
Training in
Yeah,
higher
it's
elevation.
gotta be, dude. It's gotta be.
Yeah.
I think maybe he was talking just about like the net elevation gain is what he had to have been talking about. I don't know. But I am excited to study the course more.
Yeah. I'm excited to see your trajectory, especially with your mindset now. And just
Oh man, so many things even in this last training block that I would have done different. And let's go back real fast when I was talking earlier about, man, the best training plan you have is the one you stick to. And the reason so many times I was all of a sudden having to like re-scramble a training plan together with 4, 6, 8 weeks left. Most of the time, 95% of the time, it was because of injury. I've said this several times in some of my videos. Back when I used to run, I thought I needed to like ingrain race pace. You know what your goal is? That's what pace you need to run. Learn it, live it, eat it, breathe it.
Yeah.
But it's so wrong. That is so wrong.
Yeah.
That led to so many injuries. And so it was injuries and then time off and then coming off, taking a week or two off. And now it's like, dang, now I only have 8 weeks. Like, let's just refigure something out.
Yeah.
It just never went well.
Interesting. Yeah, because I've seen a lot in the... I'm just really starting to dip my toes in the running world. And I've seen a lot of people say, like run 80-90% of your runs at a slow pace.
Yep. So let's talk about that, because I know you're getting ready to build your training block yourself for yours.
Yeah.
So when we say that, when we talk about 80-90%, try to think about that in terms of actual, and then to go a step further, when you're thinking and you're looking at your training block, building it out, and you might have like Monday's a 4-mile day, and then Tuesday's a 6-mile day, and that 4 miles was easy miles, so that gets counted towards the percentage of easy miles.
Sure.
The 6-mile, it might be 2 miles easy, 2 miles like sub race pace, like 10 seconds faster than race pace, and then 2 miles easy.
Interesting.
That's only 2 miles of hard mileage. That's not 6 miles.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at your percentages, I remember, thinking at first, like, dang, how do you even squeeze speed work in?
Yeah. So okay. So you've opened up just a new block for me, or new idea for me, because my mindset has been like, okay, if I'm running on a Tuesday and it's I've been calling them sprints, but I guess tempo
intervals or tempo.
Interval,
yep. And there's differences
tempos.
there. Yep.
Okay. But say it's a Tuesday and that's my day to do that. My mindset would be like, that's all I'm doing. Like I wouldn't even consider, okay, I'm gonna run 6 miles and 2 of them are gonna be slow, and then I'm gonna do the interval or tempo or whatever for 2 miles, and then I'm gonna do 2 more miles at an easy pace again. I didn't even consider that would be a thing.
If you want to have a successful day, you want to have a successful speed session, warm up. Take the time to warm up.
Interesting.
So again, when I think about back on my training block, there were times that I got lazy and I didn't do that. Maybe in my mind, and maybe when I was tying on my shoes that morning, I was still thinking about doing that. I'm going to take 2 miles easy. I'm going to do 4 miles hard, whatever pace I chose, because I'm going to make a decision before, and then I'm going to finish with a mile or 2 easy again. And I might go out for that first mile and hear my watch tell me my time. I'm like, dude, that was actually pretty quick. Let's just get rolling. Let's get rolling. So I could still do a lot better job about staying disciplined to that. And it's like, no, humble yourself.
It's been hard, dude.
Chill for a minute.
Some of the easy runs that I do, even for me, they're like really like 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes. 10 and a half minutes or even 11 minutes a mile is probably where I should be. Probably where I should be. No?
I don't know.
Because even my like,
I've seen some of your times. I've been watching.
Okay.
The thing that's but here's the thing. The thing that would tell us. The thing that would
the
tell
heart rate.
us.
The heart rate.
I
know. I have that. I have that in. Okay. It's Strava. It's straight up Strava. And you may have to help me on this because I have paid for it. And I have my Fitbit here, but on my Fitbit, I've connected the Fitbit to the Strava. I've done it, and I've gone through some of the steps that are outlined in Strava, but it just won't show up. I just I go into the heart, there's a little heart at the bottom of like when you start your run or whatever, you like start your thing. I'm doing a bad job of explaining it, but
No,
when
I
you
know
start
exactly
it,
what you're talking about.
there's a little heart right in the middle at the bottom, a little heart icon, and I click it, but it says nothing is connected. But in the settings, in the app itself, in the settings, I've connected this. So I don't know. I don't know what to do.
And mine, I'm like, I start it on my watch, I stop it on my watch, I never touch my phone, and then when I'm done, then it syncs over to my phone.
I wonder if
So
that's
like
what I have to do.
And so I think I just don't know the world of Fitbit, but we'll figure it out for you. Can I ask you this though? Do you know, like, when you're done, even though it didn't sync to Strava, is there any way you can look back and see what
Yeah.
your heart rate did during the run?
I think so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you can at least just like know what the average heart rate was and maybe what your max was, like even those two numbers would
Would
be
be huge.
groundbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know even with that being said, the average, like, that's not going to be super, super helpful when you take 2 miles easy, 4 miles hard, 2 miles easy. The average there will get skewed. And so
Sure.
it is nice to be able to look at Strava's charts back, hey, when I did the hard, this is what happened.
Sure.
But even at a base level, if you could get average and max, it would go a long way. And
yeah,
this is stuff I
I'll
never
take a
did.
look.
Never did heart rate
Dude,
before.
and this is why for
but
me,
it's helped me so much.
dude, for me, watching you and having you guide me through a lot of this, and you creating your content
Oh, dude, you're gonna have
and
a
your
nice
videos,
path.
it's been amazing for me, dude. Because
I
I'm
love
watching
hearing
every
that.
one of them, and you like you explaining things, or you like talking about things, or even you like texting me things, you know, or
Nice.
like guiding me along has been huge because otherwise I would just be taking the path of you know, I'm just running aimlessly in the world,
Sure.
and I don't know what I'm doing, and I just see some
But you
Instagram
would figure it
videos.
out. It's just you get
Yeah, but it's
You
just
learn.
been nice to have.
and I
some
can't
help,
say
yeah.
I do things perfect. I'm always learning and adapting. Like I said, I look back at my last training block. There's so much I could have done different.
Yeah,
There's gonna be a lot of experimenting in this next 10 weeks
yeah, yeah.
for this ultra, but
But yeah, I really think I'm gonna kind of veer for a second because I really
Okay.
think like all of the running itself, like everything you're talking about, and everything you're describing and running from my perspective too, is everything is the mind. And like we are at a point, I think, or, I don't know, I think even everybody, honestly, every single person on this planet, like physically could start running or start walking or whatever, start that, but it's the mind that is really just stopping everything. You're talking about your training blocks, right? And how you would you'd get an injury and then you'd have to redo things or rethink things, and just have a justification of like, I just can't do this, like I have to do something else, blah blah blah. And the idea of that is just resonating with me so hard right now, Ty.
Yeah.
Because it just, I don't know, I'm just over it, dude. I'm
Well,
over
dude,
that.
it
and
resonates with me because of how much you talk about it. How many times you've been like, oh, my mind tells me, oh, you've done so much, like lay down, like you can take a rest. Like those thoughts, man.
all
like
the time,
same.
dude.
Yeah.
All the time, dude. It's constant. It's constantly, for me, it's just constantly saying, dude, you didn't sleep last night. You didn't sleep well. You didn't go lay down. What are you doing? And I'm like, no, I have shit to do. Like I listened to that part of my brain for 32 years of my life, and I got to a point where I was just exhausted all the time, even when I was doing nothing. Right. So it's just, it. You just can't listen to it. You can't listen to it,
Yeah.
and that helps. That is more grueling than the actual running, I think. Like the physical part of the running, I think.
Sure.
So let's get back into I don't know, some of the training blocks, or do you want to help me? Do you want to help me
definitely.
build something?
Yeah, so big things. It's one thing that I've always thought about, just now at a much more detailed level, has been like the 10% increase rule, right? So
Mm-hmm.
week over week, trying to only increase by 10% of your total mileage,
Week by week.
as
Yeah,
well
yeah,
as your long run. The distance of your long run, which should only increase by 10% as well.
yeah.
So that's a big thing to think about. So when I'm building my training block, a lot of times I have my calendar, and you've seen kind of the format that I have on an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
And over on the far right, outside of the chart, I'll just start jotting the numbers of what I want to do for my total mileage, and that's where I'm starting. So it's like, okay, what total mileage do I want to get to? What do I have the time to get to? If I'm sticking to 10% rule and I'm doing a drop down week every third or fourth week, I'm going to do like 5 less miles.
Drop down. Yeah.
Yep.
So you're doing every 2 or 3 weeks you're doing increase, but then every third or something you're dropping it a little bit for recovery purposes, or
yeah, just to let the body catch up. I might during that drop down week do an extra speed or a tempo interval session. I might increase my strength training for that week.
I see.
And so balance it with something else.
Okay.
It's going to be, I think, just slightly different for this ultra. I think I'll do that a little bit. I only have 10 weeks, so I'll only probably do maybe 2 drop down weeks. Going into this ultra, I'm actually not going to have a rest day. My rest day will just be kind of like a super easy 3, 4, 5 mile run with Coda, and that'll be what I'll consider my rest day.
Interesting. So you're 10
unless my
weeks.
body screams at me. And so that's something I wanted to say is in the past I got injured and I had to take 2 weeks off. And then it's like, dude, now I got to get back into this. I got to figure out what I'm doing because I'm only a few weeks away from my race.
Sure.
Now, and what I did in this last training block, I mean, running through the winter, I got sick once or twice. I dealt with some nags, but nothing that took me out for like 2 weeks because I dealt with them and I was willing to be flexible with my schedule. So it's not set in stone. I am flexible with a week-to-week schedule. You know, I might have a speed or an interval workout, scheduled for a Thursday, but all of a sudden that week comes up in my life and it's a busy week at work on Thursday and I need to move it to a Wednesday or something. So I'm willing to be flexible by moving the days of the week.
Sure.
With my life. So there's flexibility built in. I'm still not rewriting the workouts. I'm just changing maybe the day I'm doing them on because I still want to be in the mindset of, no, I have a plan. I'm just executing. We've talked about that quite a bit.
I wanted to expand on that.
Go off on that because I know you really like that.
No, well, like I've never really been that kind of person. You know that, like I'm very much more so like just kind of go with whatever happens and just kind of
open up another tab, order some pizza, but then stop.
Go back to another tab.
Yeah,
that's a different tab than the original tab, and then 20 minutes later, hey, weren't we ordering pizza? Yes, that's me.
Sounds about right.
See,
yes.
That's me. But you
so I'm curious what this is going to do for your life.
Dude, me too.
Carry over
well,
you mentioned
it like a couple weeks ago at this point, and maybe even sooner than that. But I was like, that, I don't know. It hit with me. It hit with me. It resonated with me. Whatever, because it was like, yeah, if I plan something out, and then just did it, I don't have to think that morning about exactly what I'm gonna do. Like it's already laid out for me. I'm just gonna do it. Yes. And I think past me, I think the insecurity of it was, if I were to like be working out or if I were to be like doing some kind of physical thing, I think the insecurity was like, I want to wake up in the morning and decide what I want to do, because if I don't do it, then I'm gonna fail. Like if I woke up, if I had a plan for like 4.5 miles or whatever, and I only did 2 because I woke up that morning and didn't feel like doing 4.5, then I would have considered that a failure.
Sure.
I don't want to be a failure, right? I think that's where that came from.
Okay.
So now I'm in a much more confident and much more also like I don't care about what I consider a failure or what I consider. I'm just like I don't give a shit anymore. I just don't. So like hearing you say like I'm laying out my day, I'm laying out my training plan and this is what I'm doing, and then I don't have to take any of all the guesswork's gone. I just have to do it.
Yeah,
it was like, that was the thing I needed to hear.
Yeah.
At this point in my life.
It stems right from decision fatigue, and decision fatigue is such a real thing.
Yeah.
When people wake up and they struggle with what to wear, and then they struggle with what am I going to eat today, and then all these little decisions, and then it comes time to making an important decision, but we're fatigued, and it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why they've always said, like, lay your clothes out the night before, you know, like things like that. Like, don't have to think about it. Just you wake up, oh, there are my running shoes, there's my running shorts, I'm just putting them on and going to do the workout I already planned to do. Now I am still going to circle back though. Okay. And you, in your example, you do mention like, oh, I woke up and just, you know, didn't feel it. So the asterisk there is like still listening to the body, like specifically for you, the ankle, you know, so, and being willing to be flexible, because if you're not, then you may end up in the situation where now I'm taking 2 weeks off because I'm truly injured. So just that only, but true, like I need to listen to my body, not this mental weakness of like, oh, I just want to stay in the warm bed.
That's the line though. That's the line. That's the line that I'm like.
But I think when you're driven and when you're feeling and in tune with your body, you know that. You know if your body's run down. And it hit me like once or twice in my marathon training for this last block. But generally speaking, for this ultra, I'm not planning on taking days off. Unless my body really tells me I need to, like some rest. Yeah. So you're planning every single day, like 10 weeks straight of some form of running or working out, right? Is that what you're saying? And then again, everything's planned, but in that week straight across, there may be some shifting as the week actually happens, and maybe I have something scheduled and I need to do. So tell me some of the distances or some of the things for like what like give me a quick rundown of what you're like looking at for your training 10 block. I'm really gonna start looking at across my week my total mileage, but I'm also looking at my total elevation gain across that week. So I might have a drop down week, but I'm gonna make sure in that drop down week my elevation goes higher. So it's like I might do less miles, but it's gonna be a lot of climbing. Interesting. So that balance I'm excited for. I've never really. Interesting. Keep going. Okay. So that's something I'm looking at big picture when I look across the week, is I'm going to really pay attention to what the elevation gain is, because it tells you on Strava, you know, like how much you gained. And again, like if you're running a loop, the net, like the net, considering the gain and loss is 0 because you're starting in the same spot. But over the course of the run, it'll add up. Every time you had a little increase, it adds those up and gives you an elevation gain. Net elevation gain. Like it's, I've seen that. So like every split that I run will have like plus 10 or minus 30 or whatever. Yeah. And then the overall run will be like plus 45 or those something. Numbers, the pluses and the minus, if you ran a loop, should go down to 0. They should equal 0 because you're starting and ending in the same spot. So the elevation is the same. But what the Strava does when you just see the gain, it's just taking any moment that it was a plus. I'm going to add those together. Forget the losses. I'm going to tell you what the gain was during it. So that number is what I'm going to look at. Interesting. Cool. I thought you meant when you said that, like drop down week for elevation, I thought you meant like, okay, I'm going to get mountains. Yeah, but I thought more so like you were tracking it in the sense of like, okay, I'm tracking elevation gains in the same way I'm tracking my distances. Oh, sure. So like this week of distances, I'm going to run 60 miles in a week, but I'm also tracking my elevation, which I'm going to gain 200 feet of elevation in the week. And then next week, I'm going to gain 300. And then next week, I'm going to gain 400. And then the week after, I'm going to gain only 350. And that will probably naturally happen with the mileage increase. I think that'll naturally happen. But on a drop-down week when there's less mileage, I want to make sure that I am not doing too many flat, easy runs. And you're increasing like there'll still mileage. Be a fair amount, but I want to make sure I'm doing an extra hill workout that week, because I have hill workouts. I didn't do this during my training block for the marathon because I knew that it was a very gentle downhill for the most part. There's only a few moments of climbs, which I fucking crushed, by the way, coming right off the half marathon point. Hit the half marathon at 125, so I thought a 250 or a negative split was in the cards. You were like 245. And I told myself after the half marathon, saw the 125, said, okay, well, let's see how this hill goes, because it's right after. It's like mile 14 is where the hill is, and the biggest hill like of the race. Okay. And my my pace per mile for that hill mile only dropped like 20 seconds. And in my like Excel files, when I was like doing my splits and like in that mile alone, I like gave myself a minute. I was like, if you're running 620s, plan for a 720 and you'll still be fine. But I was running like at that time 630s, and I think that mile was like a 650 or almost 7 or something
you're
like that.
killing it.
And so I was like, dude, I killed that hill. So I didn't do a lot of hill training for this run, knowing what the course was. But for this ultra, I will have a lot of specific hill workouts.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is something that I haven't done yet, so I'm excited for that. The other big thing that'll happen, my long runs.
Sorry. So are you going to be so the ultra is you mentioned terrain, like kind of heavy terrain. Are you going to be running a lot of trails, or are you going to be sticking it to roads?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I still work a job and have to do certain things. I have access that's pretty close, and so Saturday, Sunday are huge. I'll be on trails for sure every Saturday and Sunday, and then I'm going to make sure that there's one day a week. I've adjusted my work schedule. I'll probably close in that night, and so I can take the entire morning and be able to, in the middle of the week, go and do a trail run as well. So I'll get as much trail in as I can. I mean, I'm excited because Monday is the first day of the training block, and it's Memorial Day. So I'm going to kick off my first workout. I'm going to do is I'm going hiking with some friends, my wife and some buddies.
Nice.
And I don't want them to feel like it needs to be a workout. So I'm going to go like smash 10 or 12 miles first and then go hike. And then we can just be leisure and have a good time. Like, and they don't have to.
Because you're going to be, if you don't do that, you're going to be like, come on, guys, let's go. Come on.
Let's go. If it's only like 3 or 4 mile little hike, it's just, no, I need mileage. Like, I'm here for mileage now. Yeah. So I'll go crush a long run. And then immediately after we'll go and do that hike. And so I'll do some stuff like that. I'll do back-to-back long runs will be a big thing. So maybe like a 20 mile followed by like another 22 mile or something like that. So back-to-back long runs will be a big thing. Yeah. And then my solo long run, one person I talked to that I have a lot of respect for really recommended, even for a 62 mile, trying to get as close to 40 miles as a long run as possible. A lot of stuff I've seen online I mean, has mentioned you need to have at least 2 or 3 30 to 35 mile runs.
Yeah.
But again, the pace of these are very different. Because even in my training block for Ogden, when I had a long run, a lot of times early on, those long runs were 100% of the mileage was easy. Later on, between like weeks 14 to 18, when I was really peaking, I made sure that in my long runs, it was like 4 miles easy, and then in the middle of it I would do like a 4 mile hard, like at a 5k pace or a 10k pace, faster than marathon, and then finish with easy mileage. So I started incorporating speed in my long runs, but everything long run is going to be so slow. Like, it is like you need to make sure you're going a pace that you feel like you could go forever.
So that, like, one of the things that you mentioned when I was first talking about running a marathon and like figuring out like the long distances and long runs, I thought that like I'd have to like run a marathon length in the training at some point. Remember like I was like, I feel like I need to run 26 miles before I run a marathon because I need to know if I can do it. But something you expanded on or like touched on was like it's more of the time that you're actually out running versus the distance, and that like really cleared something for me that was like, okay, I don't need to run 26 miles before. But with this, I was thinking today actually about like, okay, if I'm ever gonna run I'm going to run, sorry.
Yep, when you do it.
Let me clear that language. Shut up, brain. If I run, did it again. When I run 100 miles, I feel like that is like such a. How do you train or practice for that? How do you get
back-to-back long runs? It's back-to-back long runs, and then also the big.
So like long runs, like 50 miles, 60 miles.
Like I'd mentioned, that 20 and then 22 miles. So that'll be 42 miles total, and I'm training for a 62 mile race. So that's kind of an idea. And again, on those mileage compared to Ogden marathon training was road racing, and it was pretty standard elevation. This is going to be like 22 miles of hiking
up and down, and like intense.
And so a little different there.
How do you map that out? How do you like are there like I know Utah and I know the mountains, but like are there like trails that like does On the Go map or whatever that website is you showed me, like does that have things that you can just like map out on trails themselves?
I'm not too worried about it. I like there's a lot of good trail apps that you can see how long some trails are generally speaking, but then boom, the watch has the GPS, so it's gonna map it for me.
Okay. So you're more
so-
like, okay, I'm going out 10 miles and then I'm turning back. Is that your mindset?
Yeah,
or,
and I think
or-
there's a few trails I can think of, and one of the key workouts that I'm most excited for is I remember quite a while ago I was doing Mount Timpanogos every once in a while.
Uh-huh.
It's a pretty long one. I think it's a 14-mile round trip, 7 up, 7 back, give or take.
Okay.
I have a specifically in my training block. I'm gonna do a day where I do it twice, back to back. I'm gonna go up, down, up, down. And I remember one time when I did it, because I did it a few times one summer, and one time I got to the top, and I wanted to see how fast I could get up it. And I think my watch ended up dying on me, so it's on my Strava, but my watch had died, so it doesn't capture the full thing.
Dang.
But I think I got up in like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something, pretty quick.
Jeez.
And I remember there was someone up there, because up at the very top there's like a shack and like a big old phone book looking thing that everyone signs their name if they make it to the top.
Uh-huh.
And I remember we were chilling up there. There's some other people kind of eating their snacks or whatever, getting ready before they head back down. And naturally, I'm by myself. I look fit. I'm probably looked like I just got done working because I hauled ass up this mountain. And I remember this guy had asked me, like, "Oh, how long did it take you to get up?" And I, told him like 220 or 220, whatever. And he was like, "Oh, I could get up here like in just under 2 when I was your age or something like that." And as I thought to myself, I was like, "Boy, I'm gonna come back one day. You just wait. You want a sub 2? I'll give you a sub 2.
I'm going to do it in an hour and 20 minutes. You old ass. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, dude. Interesting. Very eye-opening for me in a lot of ways, especially like like I've said, I'm going to do a 100-mile ultra at some point. Actually, I did. I told Rye about 2 hours ago. I was like, it would make sense. So March 2nd is the day that I literally shot out of my couch and was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I'm not gonna die sitting on this couch. That was March 2nd. I remember it. I don't know. There's got to be a 100-mile marathon somewhere on March 2nd. Next year. There's got to be. There's got to be somewhere. Yeah, have it be like my year anniversary or something.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah. Something.
I was thinking to myself that after Boston, probably later in 2024 is when I'm going to do my first 100-miler.
Nice.
I want to knock out 100 kilometers first, and then after that, I'm going to go into a 100-miler.
Nice.
In 2024 is the plan.
Nice.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think the last thing at some point I really need to get checked off is the Ironman. But
that's biking, swimming, and running, right?
Yep.
Is that running a marathon and then like biking?
The marathon's the end. So swim first, then bike, then run.
Run a marathon. So how far do you swim?
2 point something mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then a 26.2-mile marathon.
Man.
Something like that. I could be a little off on those numbers,
Wild. That's some intense shit.
But yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, just for this first ultra, just to dip my toes in the world, and I'm sure I'll learn so much.
Yeah, and I'm gonna learn a lot just by watching. Well, actually, yeah. I'm probably gonna be there.
You gotta come pace. Yeah, I get a pacer.
I'm going.
For lap 3 and lap 4.
Yeah. Right. So we're trying to like work out some of those details, but yeah, I think
Taylor's the other person that's gonna try to come and pace.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, nice. Hell yeah. Yeah, we're working out the details. I'm trying to find out the exact days that I want to be out there for. But yeah, dude. 15 and a half miles? Wipe my ass with 15 and a half miles.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll be trash, so the pace will be cash.
Love it. Yeah, for you. For me, it'll be like fucking sprinting.
No, I'm saying I will have already done 45 miles by the time you join.
Oh, dude, yeah. Fucking.
So I'll be trash.
Yeah. That'll be easy then. Okay.
So it'll be cash, yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's nothing. Well, cool, man.
I
Yeah, I
will jump
think
on at
we're.
some point. Hope maybe
I
Sunday I'm
think
gonna try to
we're.
come on and do a video kind of outlining my
Good.
actual training block. I'll pull it up.
Okay.
Cause yeah,
Yeah,
it kicks
yeah.
off on
I'd
Monday.
like to. I'd like to see
Kicks
it.
off on
Yeah, I'd like
Monday.
to see it. I need to. I need to come up with my own for myself.
Yeah, you do.
Leading into. So I'm getting close to the 20-week training block for this Richmond marathon.
Yeah, what's the date on that? I remember looking at it at one point.
It
What's your kickoff day? I
was
think it's like the last
November
Monday of June.
November 11th, and I think if I remember right, it's June 24th is the 20 week spot.
26th. Yep, the 26th is a Monday.
Monday, yeah. So that would be when I
Nice.
start the training. So I have, I think, you're right. I have about 4 weeks. About 4 weeks starting on Monday.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be worthwhile right now to plan for those 4 weeks if your ankle's feeling good too, and you
I
want
mean,
to try to
it's
commit
good
to something.
practice. It's good practice if anything,
Yeah.
of like writing something out and sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ankle feels fine. Yeah, dude, we talked about this. The ankle feels, it's just a little weak. It's just not where I want it to be at. I know like the strength of where I want it to be at, and I'm very aware of it. I'm very aware of what's going on. I'm much more aware than I've ever been.
I believe that.
But yeah, I know where it's at, and this strength and conditioning, like this gym too, is past couple days has been really helpful for it also. So I have a lot of confidence, is kind of where I'm at. I have a lot of confidence in like being able to run in general, just long distances or just kind of anything, and not overhurt myself, because like you said, your body, like if your body's screaming at you, then that's when you know.
For
And
sure.
I feel like I'm in the same kind of, I have the same feeling. Like I'll just know like, oh, my ankle today is like, this is actually a genuine, like I need to sit down and take care of it.
Yeah.
More so than, like, I kind of mentioned it earlier, the line. Sometimes the line, it's like, is my brain just saying my ankle is hurting, or is it like actually bad?
And I dealt with a little bit of ankle stuff. Sometimes it even spread to the bottom of my foot just a little bit throughout the training block. And for me, as soon as the presence of it, again, it wasn't even sometimes an ache or a pain. It was just like the weakness feeling you talk about, or just a presence there.
Yeah.
When I would get that, it was a sign that I wasn't doing the recovery I needed to. So then I would up my recovery work. And in those moments when I told myself I needed extra recovery work, I was trying to do a 2-to-1 ratio. So if I ran for a half an hour, I tried to do an hour of body work
Interesting.
that night. And that was a lot, but that was when I felt like I really needed it. For maintenance, I tried to do a 1-to-1 ratio.
Can we really quickly just talk about recovery real fast?
Yeah.
So
many
like,
aspects to recovery.
So I have been pretty much just stretching after the workouts. And when I get home, I will do a massage gun and stretching.
Nice.
And is that enough? That's my question.
So
is I don't feel like I'm doing enough.
I can't say I know a ton about the massage gun. One thing I would challenge you, in addition to it, I wouldn't say don't use it, but I would really try to hone in on self-massage. So with your hands, you can get like really deep and in some good spots with your fingertips, especially along that shin muscle that we've really talked about as you're rotating the ankle.
Man,
and the rotation of the ankle at the same time of pinning muscles, you gotta do that.
I will do that more. I will. There's a nozzle, or there's like a different head adjustment on the massage gun that is pointed. They have there's one that's flat, and I use that one a lot, and it really gets my like shin bone. That where you can get shin splints, essentially. I think it gets that really well. But there's a head nozzle adjustment that's it's pointed, and it gets into some spots, dude. Nice. I mean, I will do more. The thing that's
nice though with the fingers is that it won't keep moving. Every once in a while, you're gonna want to stop and hold that spot and apply a good amount of pressure, and then rotate the ankle. Again, like we do it with our wrist all the time, right? Like these muscles work
Yes.
when we're moving. So
That's
you
a good
want to
point.
find the muscle you're working it
That's
and
a
then
good point.
pin it and then work
move.
it. So that's the difference between, I think, the massage gun. And then again, that's something that
smart.
I try to implement a little bit of that concept on the foam roller, but when I have my hands and it's self-massage, it's so much easier, and I feel so in tune.
That makes sense.
But yeah, a lot of good work there. Recovery, sleep. I know I can't imagine as a parent how to balance that. For myself, I've really locked in the 5 a.m. club. I'm stoked about it.
Hell yeah.
It's no question. My alarm, I wake up before my alarm goes off now. I love it.
That's amazing.
My newest addition, my newest level up, as you like to call it, that has really, I thought I was in a good place mentally and like mental toughness, but I've leveled up over the last few weeks as I've implemented the cold showers.
Love it.
And so
are you doing those in the morning?
So if I'm not running, which is rare that I don't run in the morning, because usually I wake up and I run first thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm waking up and doing it first thing. This week I have, because there's been 1 or 2 days, 3 days now, I think, that I haven't run. So I have waken up and taken the cold shower first thing.
And how is that?
Yeah, we're reaping some benefits though, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
I already feel it, man. I already feel it. Know what it's going to do for me.
We have in our shower we have 2 different nozzles, one for hot and one for cold.
Okay.
And you have to like turn them both on and find the balance of like, finding too hot or too cold or whatever. I literally at this point I don't even turn the hot one on.
Good for
I
you.
don't. It's just straight cold, and the temperatures they're extreme. Like it's like really
cold.
hot, and it's really cold. And I don't even. And it's not at this point. Like straight up, like I took a shower today. It wasn't cold enough.
Wild.
It wasn't.
Wild.
I'm like I need to get into like ice baths.
Ice bath. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get there too. For me, I've been really good about starting with like lukewarm at warmest for a second, and then going colder. Today was just cold. But the thing that I've noticed for me, dude, is I'll be in the water and like my face in the front of me, no issues. You turn around and when that shit hits the back, going right down the spine, oh, that'll wake you up, man. I love it though.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah.
But recovery, so sleep is where I was going to though. I can't imagine, and I want to make sure you lock that in. Your body needs it for sure.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been the discipline of going to bed early.
Dude,
I love that you don't make an excuse of it.
Yeah,
though.
from my perspective, like at this point in my life, like I can't make that as an excuse, because it would literally be every day of me like waking up and being like, I haven't slept enough because my kid got up in the night, or she went to bed late, or she got up early. It's she just rarely will sleep a full 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. at this point anymore.
Sure.
And so it's like yeah, I know it's important, but like I cannot get
so I think what
8
you'll have
hours.
to do is going with that back to the flexibility. I was moving workouts based on if like I had work or something was going on in my life and I didn't have the time, because again, I love to do my easy runs in the morning fasted. If I was doing a harder workout, I either needed extra time in the morning or I needed to do it in the afternoon, because your easy runs need to be easy and your hard runs needs to be hard. So you have to keep that in mind, that if you do have just like a horrible night of sleep, that maybe you consider taking that as an easy day and then hoping that the next day or two you wake up feeling a little bit fresher, so that your hard day can be hard.
Yeah.
And not try to blur those lines too much by like just forcing it.
Yeah.
You'll play with it. You'll keep figuring it out.
That's a good idea, though.
It's great. It's great birth control for me. I love it.
Yeah, because it sucks sometimes. It sucks. But it's honestly, for me, it's even more. It drives me even more.
Oh yeah,
like it just drives me even more.
Oh dude, I was listening to an interview today, and Kobe was talking about how many times he played a game with zero sleep. I can't remember what talk show he was on, one of those late night talk shows, and the host had asked him, he's like, "What's the least amount of sleep you've ever played a game on?" And he's, "Zero sleep." What do you mean? And he would talk about like once or twice that one of his daughters, had like a health issue or something was going on, and he had zero sleep. Like he had to go out and perform the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. I resonate with that.
Yes,
I resonate
get it
with
done.
because like there's
But where possible, if you can get to bed early, you have a moment, you have the opportunity, jump on it, take
yeah,
advantage of it. Your body will
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, yeah.
And then we've talked about
That's
diet, and
good.
we've talked about
So
that quite a bit. Your diet's right on, so
yeah, yeah. Um,
we can always do better in diet. But
that's is that part of recovery or is that just in general?
oh, definitely
Interesting.
part
Okay.
fueling. But again, for your hard workouts, you're really gonna have to start learning what your body can tolerate and the time frame in which you need to eat that
Need to start
before you
doing it.
run,
Yeah.
before a hard workout.
And that one,
Um,
honestly, dude, that one honestly is going to be real hard for me because even the long run. So the longest I've done is eight and a quarter miles.
yeah.
Even then, I just carried like a little bit of water with me,
Uh-huh.
and just I barely even drank any because I was too afraid to like drink too much and then like slow down or like have to pee or something like that. So like that's all the fueling I've ever done. Like every time I go on a run, it's like before or after. So
And
that's
for
going to be hard
myself,
for me to adjust.
during the run, I didn't typically carry. And again, I was trained in a colder. Now that it's warm, I would need more liquids and fluids with me. But I wasn't carrying fuel, and if it was under 12, maybe even up to 14 miles, I wasn't
Interesting.
carrying anything. No
Interesting.
water,
Okay.
no food, no
Interesting.
booze,
Okay.
nothing.
Okay.
But in the warmer, there's no way I would do that now.
Uh-huh.
I would have fluids with me, but it's more of like, no, the days that you know you want to have a hard workout, you need to learn and what foods you can eat and how long you need it to sit before you can go out and
Sure.
push your body.
So, okay. Here's something else real quick that just popped into my head. Something today. So I did the workout, the strength and conditioning, and then I did the run, right? And the strength and
Okay.
conditioning was pretty hard actually. And I thought to myself, David Goggins, I'm just like a freaking disciple of him at this point. But he has said that like when you think you're done with something difficult, you're actually only 40% done. And that like kind of kept resonating with me today. That kind of kept like I'm not like, you know, I got to a point where in the strength and conditioning, like I could tell everyone else in the room, like we were like, you know, we were 2/3 of the way done, and it was like, fuck, we're cooked. But like I was like, no, hang on. I'm only 40% of the way there. Let's fucking go, right? But the leveling up, I can't remember exactly why I brought this up, but like the idea that I'm having is like bringing my base of like work up, like my hard work up, so that like the I completely lost why I brought
Just like
that
I was
up.
talking about my mile,
But-
man. I was trying to increase that ceiling.
Maybe, but like,
That 40% though.
but yeah, it's just, God, there's so many things. There's so many good, positive things that are that I'm thinking and feeling.
But in that
just
class,
about
man, you
this.
got it done, and then you still did a run afterwards.
Yeah. Because it's like I was like I'm 40. How much farther can I go? I need to keep going. And so like I need to raise. The only way I can like find out how far and how hard I can push or how much I can do is to just go out and do things. Find out. Yeah. No one's gonna hold my hand and say like, yeah, Jet, like you this is how far you can go. You know, like like no one's gonna like tell me how far I have to figure that out for
there's
myself.
no calculator for that. There's no plug
yeah.
and play on that.
Yeah, I got to figure that out. Yeah, so, but yeah, like 40%. Like, I still have 60% to go.
Yeah.
But,
my wife actually has been talking about that. I don't know if I bet she did hear it from Goggins, but she had told me that quote, gosh, like 4 or 5 weeks ago. And she was talking about when she's at the gym and her muscles are like fatigued and she wants to give up, that she'll tell herself that, like, no, you're only 40% there.
yeah,
You can push out a few more reps.
yeah,
Love it.
Yeah, and like, there's another one that like when I get into a hard place, I'd be able to know if I was in a hard place, but it's something about like trying and like realizing how hard you're actually trying versus like what you think is hard. Something else he also came up with.
I have a quote I want to share with you actually that that is something I want to deeply ingrain during this ultra prep and during the run when
Okay.
I'm in it.
Mhm.
But is this something I wanted to preface with? No, let's jump it in. This is one of my all-time favorite quotes. Okay,
Okay.
it reads, "Sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried, but you've actually been planted."
Oh.
And I just like,
Ooh.
dude, I thought about this and I was connecting it when I was reading this article about bonking in ultras. And they were talking
Can't
about
believe they
how,
call
like,
it
no,
bonking.
when you bonk in an ultra, like, your day's not over. You can recover from that. In a marathon, if you're competitive, you bonk. It's like you ran too low, you didn't fuel fast enough to catch it. But in an ultra, you can come back from that. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, I am gonna be out there, and I'm just gonna. There's been so many times and so many moments, I'm sure, when it's like, dude, this is hard, and this sucks, and you're just gonna feel buried, right? And it's like, no, this is actually just an opportunity. Like, you, again, one of my favorite videos is this documentary from Sally McRae, Yellow Runner. She just did the Cocodona 250. I'm a huge fan of her. Actually, as we've been talking about strength training, she talks about how she does strength training 2 to 3 times a week. I think in her peak, when she's actually doing a lot of running. Off season, it's very different. She does a lot more. But during her peak running, she does 2 to 3 times a week. And I actually think she pairs it on her days that are hard days. So her tempo and interval day kind of days are the days that she also hit the gym.
Interesting.
And it's usually the gym after, from my understanding, how she talks about it. She'll have her hard workout, and then it's like, hey, it's a hard day, let's go make it even harder. And then she'll go hit the gym later that day. But she has this documentary called Choosing, gosh, what is it called, like Choosing Strong or something like that. But she just talks about how when she was in high school, her mom I believe passed away from cancer, and so she watched her mom go through that, and like at times was even like having to like physically take care of her, helping her in and out of bed and wheelchairs and this and that. And she just kept talking about that that when she's running her ultras, like, she chose her hard. Like, she voluntarily signed up for this. I get to choose my struggle. I get to choose my hard. My mom didn't get to choose her hard, right?
That, yeah.
And so when she would be out there on a run and it sucks, it's like, no, like, be grateful. Like, you chose to do this. You get to do this.
Yeah.
And so again, like, when I'm out there and I'm buried, it's like, no, dude, you put yourself in a spot that now you can blossom and bloom. Like, you needed to come here so that you could get out and like show yourself that, no, like, you could do something. And so, man, there's gonna be times when I'm buried. You're gonna see it if you're there, and you're gonna have to remind me, brother, you've been planted.
Man, yeah.
But I
Dude,
love that
is
quote.
beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah. That's
the way
beautiful.
this one particular guy says it during a speech. I'm gonna send that video to you. I have it bookmarked. I listen to it often. I'm gonna send it to you. Just his tone, his inflection, the way he delivers it. It's powerful. I love it. It's short, but it's just powerful.
Yeah. Man. It's just, you get to, it's so crazy because you like, people, I know for sure, I used to think people who ran a lot like you were not like crazy, but it was always like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you like,
what do you gain from that?
What are you doing? Like that, like, I know from past experiences, whenever I ran, it sucked and I did not like doing it. That was my mindset before. But like, seeing it now, seeing it on the other side and hearing just that right now, like, I get to choose. Like, my life eventually, like, something is going to come up where it's going to be absolutely brutal. That's not running wise. Like, my parents are going to die. It's going to happen.
It could be small. It could be this, like, I'm not getting sleep. My daughter's not sleeping well. Like,
but no, it's
small,
even.
But it could be. Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, my parents are gonna. I don't get to choose that, and it's gonna be brutal. It's gonna suck. Like, it's gonna be hard. But like, like, it's with running. Like, I get to choose going out there. There's a sense of pride in it. I don't know. I can't describe it other than that. There's a feeling of like I'm doing something that is really improving myself in all kinds of ways, but more so it's I get to choose what I'm doing, and it's just it sucks, and it's in such a positive way. I don't know. But yeah, like
I love it.
someone going through tough things, like they don't get to choose that. That's even worse. I think there was like some kind of probably Kobe thing or something where someone was someone interviewing him was like, is doing all these games, all these flights and all these back to backs and doing all this stuff, is that hard? And he's like, no, hard is. Do you know what I'm trying? Do you know which one I'm trying to
hard's the
say?
single mom who's working 3 jobs trying
That's
to
the one. Yeah.
keep a roof over the head. Like that's hard.
That's hard. I don't know if it was Kobe or I think it was an NBA player of some kind.
Yeah.
But like yeah, dude. Yeah. Big
Dang.
time.
So true. So powerful. Gosh.
But this has been awesome. This has been truly like just getting things out and like seeing your perspective on a lot of these things and having your help and guidance is awesome.
It's changing, it's growing,
and
it's hopefully improving.
And yeah, just like documenting this for us or for future people, wanting to look back and see this. It's incredible. I find a lot of even more so. I find a lot of pride in this.
Nice.
This is nice. But yeah, let's call it a night.
Sleep's important.
Sleep is important. Sleep's important. You have any last things you wanna get out real quick?
No, I think I want to echo one more time that I feel like I left so much on the table that I'm eager than ever. I'm hungrier than ever.
I love it.
I'm excited.
I love it.
And I'm excited to document the full process. I mean, you had challenged me early on, probably before I officially started my 20-week training block. You had challenged me to document the process, and I failed to do so.
I remember that.
Until week 17 or something.
Yeah.
And so there was so much that I wish I would have captured. And so as I'm exploring the world of the ultra, and then go back and refine for Boston, I'm excited to be able to capture all of it. So I'm excited to share. I hope people can gain something from it. I know I watch copious amounts of videos trying to learn something here or there, and so so hopefully it adds value somewhere.
Yeah, oh, it does. I'm sure it does. For nobody else, for you.
Yes.
At minimum.
Yes, I'm excited to see my own growth and progress and have you like you said, documented.
Yeah. Well, cool, man.
What about yourself? Any last thoughts?
No, I'm kind of in the same boat, man. I'm just feeling a big sense of pride and like just gratitude for where I was to where I am now, and that's something that no one can either give me or take away from me at this point, and I'm very excited to see myself 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, because now that I see the other side of this, there's nothing stopping me. There's nothing stopping me. It used to be myself stopping me. Now I don't care about
way.
Yeah, I don't care about what other people think. I don't care about kind of any of that in general, and I'm excited. But yeah, let's call it a night. This has been a night stream, a night dive with Jetthro here and Ty as well. We'll catch you guys later.